is Friday and we did come up here to film, but that's a bit grim, so I think we're just gonna head home. It is a spectacular morning, which is really what we needed, to be honest. Yeah, so it's actually Sunday morning. We've had a couple of days of torrential rain. So last week obviously was my last week at work, which I said it turned out to be absolutely manic in the end. So it went really fast actually. And then yeah, so finished work on Thursday afternoon, which was nice. Went and had a drink down by the river with the people who I work with, which was lovely, socially distanced of course. And then so I kind of set to work getting ready for Christmas because I haven't done anything at all. So we're just kind of like planning what we were going to cook. I was getting the shopping list ready, going into overdrive on trying to work out what to buy my sister and my niece. Yes, I know I'm late, but I'm late every year, always last minute shopper I am. Yeah, so everything was in full flow, and then last night at about 5:30 the wonderful announcement was made that the whole of London and the southeast, which is me obviously in London and a huge number of other people, have been put into a whole new tier 4, which is basically everything is shut again and there's no Christmas. I'm incredibly lucky. I live with my mum and my dad, and so Christmas is just going to be the three of us. But I know that there's a lot of people out there who live on their own. A lot of my own friends live on their own. Yeah, it's not going to be much fun this Christmas. There's going to be a lot of people on their own. We weren't planning a big Christmas. Obviously nobody was planning a big Christmas, but we were going to have Johanna over and my youngest niece. I'm so glad that I went down to see her, when was it, 2 weeks ago on the vlog when I took you around her garden. I'm so glad that we got to go down and see her because I hadn't seen her for months. And then we were thinking, sorry, the wind's blowing. And then we were thinking, well, shall we bother? Like, it's going to be Christmas in a couple of weeks, and then she's going to be coming down to where I am with mum and dad. But we thought, yeah, we'd just do it because we haven't seen each other for so long. We had the opportunity. I am so glad we did it because now obviously I won't be seeing her for Christmas, or my nieces. Yeah, no Christmas. But it is the shortest day tomorrow, so this is the last of the increasing length nights. It's a beautiful day and we've got quite a lot to do up here. So the first thing I'm going to do actually is film the December plot tour. You know, the last one I did was in July. It's extraordinary. To be fair, I have filmed a couple in the meantime, but they've never kind of been edited up properly or put online. So one of my New Year's resolutions is to do a plot tour every month in 2021. Whether or not it'll actually happen, I'm not sure, but that's my plan. Anyway, the December plot tour will be up sometime this week because I'm just about to go and film it now. Yeah, so come on, let's just I'm going to do this plot tour and then I'm going to take you up to the carrots. Can't refuse an offer like that, can you? Okay, carrots. We're going to clear this bed today. These are the really, really late sowing of carrots that I made. I didn't do it very well. We'd had really poor germination earlier in the year, so when I sowed these guys, it was kind of a, like, just throw them all in and see, and I sowed them way too thickly, which made them come up like a carrot hedge. And then they were almost impossible to thin because they were too entwined. So basically not a success, and I'm not really expecting there to be much under here. We're just going to dig them all out and see what there is. Okay, well, I'm absolutely flabbergasted by how many carrots we got in there. Most of them are tiny, but they're still perfectly eatable. And yeah, loads of them. Some of them are actually a really decent size. And there's barely a whiff of carrot root fly on them at all. I mean, I'm going to sort these out when I get home and have a proper look at them. But for the time, I mean, and what's really amazing is, like, obviously the tops had all died off, so I wasn't expecting there to be that many in there. And we're just digging around and there's just loads of these little tiny carrots coming out. So yeah, basically I'm pretty impressed with that. There are a couple of purple ones in there and there's a couple of white ones. Some of them are too small to do anything with, but most of these, I mean, absolutely fine. They're not going to be winning any beauty contests, but they don't need to, do they, really? Oh, what's that? It looks like a potato. So we don't actually have anywhere to store that carrot root fly cage over winter because it's a bit bulky and it doesn't really deconstruct. So we're going to put it straight over the top of the perpetual spinach that we've got down this end. The carrot root fly box is made with EnviroMesh, so it allows, you know, sunlight and rainwater to get through, but no flies. So I'm just going to put it on this because it's not going to make any difference. These don't need pollinating, it's just a leaf vegetable. Like, I would never put EnviroMesh over courgettes, for example, because the pollinators can't get through. But on spinach, it's absolutely fine. So basically, we're just using it a bit of storage, really. And the perpetual spinach does need to be covered because the pigeons absolutely love it. So where I've just had this big piece of mesh over, we'll just store the carrot root fly box over them. Bit of a sporadically planted bed because I sowed over and over again throughout the summer, and we had a couple that just bolted instantly, and then we had a couple that we've just completely eaten. The chickens got in there one time and dug up half of them, so yeah, there's a bit of a gap in the middle there. I might find something else to put in there. Well, I'm pretty pleased with those carrots. I haven't cleaned them off or anything. As soon as I get home, I'll just stick them in the sink and wash them off and see what we've got. So we've got some pretty large ones in there, much bigger than I was expecting, because these are the ones that I really never thinned out, and I really was expecting them all to be those really miniature ones. We've got plenty of really miniature ones too, but they're pretty good because all you have to do is just chop the, you know, tops off them and throw them in a soup whole, and they're absolutely delicious. So I'm pretty happy with that. Next thing on the list is to eat a piece of pecan pie. I made pecan pie yesterday, and it was a bit volcanic in the oven. It kind of like just kept growing. You know, like those science experiments that you put the chemicals in the jar and then it just like keeps producing bubbles like in these huge long columns. It's a bit like that, but the outcome's nice. It's not pretty, but it's good. So Mum's actually waiting in the shed for me for her pie. So I'm gonna go and get her some. See you in a bit. Okay, the next really exciting thing, by the way, that pecan pie was amazing, but we ate it too fast for me to film, sorry about that. Yeah, so the next incredibly exciting thing is to show you that we have got a Romanesque cauliflower forming. I'm so excited. I've never had much luck with cauliflowers in general, but these guys look really healthy and there is actually one forming, so pretty excited. And then, despite the fact that Christmas dinner isn't going to be the kind of Christmas dinner we thought it was going to be, I'm still going to show you my Brussels sprouts because I'm pretty pleased. Yeah, I mean, I'm proper giddy. I'm so excited about this. Look at that. It's so beautiful. It is just magnificent. It's like magic when things like this grow. Beautiful. And the sprouts are coming on just fine. Obviously, despite us not going to be having a massive feast with family around, we are still going to be having a Christmas dinner. So sprouts will be muchly appreciated. Good morning, good morning. I'm just going through my list. They've got quite a lot of stuff on here to tick off, actually. I've always got a long running list. Oh yeah, I've tidied the garlic chives up and I have thinned out the simidi wrapper. We had that with spaghetti yesterday for lunch. It was delish. Prune the gooseberries. No, haven't got any of that done yet. No. I've mulched the apricot tree. You saw that last week, actually. Haven't pruned the fig. Yep. Dig out the carrots, obviously, just done that yesterday. Mulch the pear tree, mulch the cherry tree, yep. Haven't sorted the compost bins out. There's just a never-ending list, isn't there? It is never-ending. And just keep adding on to the bottom. What have we got? Fix the trellis, no. Cover the chicken house. Yeah, we did that before the lockdown rules came in. Right, this is what I'm going to do today. Measure out for the poles across the back of the plot. About 6 months ago, I hammered these 3 posts in between the polytunnel and the netting shed. And we've decided to continue it further up the path. So we've got some honeysuckle growing here, which is just really starting to take off, and that's going to be really lovely. I've just got string strung across here at the moment, but I am going to replace that with battens when we find some that are the right length. We're going to continue up that way. So this is looking over the pond on the other side of the netting shed. So I'm going to put more poles in coming up this way. So the fence that you can see behind used to be a really, really dense ivy hedge that was full of birds and all sorts of things living in there. Unfortunately, because of some fallen trees, the school had to replace them, which I totally understand, but it has left us really, really open and taken away that whole habitat for the birds. So we're going to try and recreate it on our side. Now, because we're the last allotment in the plot, we're not shading anybody by doing this, and the sun comes in from this angle. So we're not creating any shade for ourselves. We're just creating a bit of a sun trap, really. So we're going to fill this area with a mixture of honeysuckle and clematis, maybe some akebia, maybe some things which form some berries, and just really block this off for privacy and to re-encourage the birds to come back. And because it's a sun trap and we're not blocking out any of that light, I'm going to put the wildflowers that were across this front of the pond back in this year, which is where they were last year there and continue them on the other side. So this is sort of our nature area, really, a bit that we're going to let to go a little bit wilder than the rest of it. The ones between the netting shed and the polytunnel I hammered in. I'm not going to hammer these ones in because the ground up here is much more uneven, and because I want them to be about 6 foot tall, when you hammer them in they have to go in about 2 or 3 feet. Like I did with this one, I hammered this one in. I'm on a ladder, like 9 foot post, trying to hammer it in with a sledgehammer. It was a complete disaster. So I'm not going to... Hello, Lily. What are you doing in there? What are you doing? So I actually put these ones in at the beginning of the year, and I used postcrete because the trellis is actually salvaged from a garden I did, and all of these posts were already attached to the trellis, so I didn't have much choice about that. And so I just dug a hole, postcreted them in, and it's worked an absolute treat. So we're going to do that up this side because it means I can get a bit more height without having to hammer them in. So that is the idea. So we'd be blocked off all along this side. We are also thinking about doing something similar all the way up this edge of the plot. But this is quite a different situation because the sun is coming from the other side of it. So this is looking across to our neighbour's plot. We're going to put posts all along here as per the other side. With this, whatever we do, we're not going to be shading our neighbour, which is the crucial bit. But if we formed this as a whole hedge like we're going to on the other side, we would be shading ourselves, which is shooting yourself in the foot because the sun's coming from this way. So what we're going to do is just try and grow some fruiting vines up here and send them straight up to the top so that it's clear at the bottom, and just grow them across the top. We are thinking about a kiwi and passion fruit at the moment. That might be a bit optimistic. If you've got any other suggestions for climbing vine fruits that's not a grapevine, I'd be really interested to hear. The reason we also want to grow them up high rather than shading ourselves is because our neighbour is not particularly good at weeding. And so we want to keep this area at the bottom here quite clear so we can kind of strim up to the border and stop his weeds coming through. So this seems like the most sensible way to be able to use the space, to be able to just use the height of it and take full advantage of the sunshine, because this half of the plot is just baked basically. Yeah, that's the plan. Poor girly whirlies, are you bored, ladies? Oh gosh, I know how you feel, ladies, I do. I'm actually going to try and give them a little bit of interest. I'm kind of thinking about ways I can do this, but just temporarily. I've got this old ramp which used to be how our big chickens got into their house. So I'm just going to hook it on the side here and tie them up a bit of cabbage at the top. Just give them a bit of something extra, you know, go up a different level and have a bit of a play. I'm going to put some thought into some entertainment I can provide them with, really, because currently, a bit like us, we don't know how long they're going to be locked inside. So yeah, entertaining the chickens is my mission for next week. I'm going to put some sorrel in the cage at the bottom there, and I know that Delphi's going to come along and just rip it all out immediately. Yep, and there we go. Somebody was asking me the other day whether or not our girls produce eggs, and yes they do, but they're very, very small. But they are mostly yolk. They're good. Well guys, back home. I'm gonna have a quick look at those carrots actually, because I want them for dinner, or at least some of them for dinner, and I also want to save some for Christmas Day, so I'm just going to have a bit of a root through them and see what's what. So I said this when they came out of the ground, like, this is a total surprise. I mean, look at the size of that. For thinking there was nothing under the ground, that's a great looking carrot. I'm going to be keeping these kind of like finger-sized ones, probably for Christmas dinner, done with honey and caraway seeds. The only bit I've spotted of carrot root fly damage is on this one, and it's only a tiny bit, so I'm well impressed with that cage. These guys are Royal Chantenay too, and I won't be growing them again. I don't really see the point of a short stubby carrot. Doesn't do it for me. And all these little chaps here, I'm just going to top and tail them and wash them quite thoroughly, like scrub them, but not peel them or anything, and use them for stew. So as well as sorting out those carrots that I got, do you remember when I tried to go butternut squash again this year? Like, we used to have no problems with butternut squash. They just kind of appeared every year. No worries, never even thought about it. And then a couple of years ago, they became the most difficult thing on earth to grow. I've got no idea why it happened, but it has. And so the butternut squash that we grew this year ended up looking like this, which is clearly not a butternut squash. Anyway, I'm going to cut this open now, first time. We've eaten the 2 crown princes that we grew. We've got 1 more of them left, and they are just delicious. But obviously we've got no idea what this one's going to taste like, or even what it's going to look like inside. But we're going to have some for dinner tonight, so I'm just going to cut this open now and see what it looks like. Yeah, so he's a right bulbous chap, this guy. Like, he's not an even shape or anything, and he's a bit scratched and scarred, but we'll see what he's like inside. Oh yeah, he's a good colour. Super bright. Look. And not actually too much pithy middle. Right, the only thing I would say about him is that the skin is way thicker than, say, on a crown prince. Much thicker, so I'm losing quite a lot more of the flesh. But that is a good looking winter squash. Well, hey, not bad. Well, it looks good. I'm pretty happy with that. I mean, I don't know, this could have just been a seed mix up. They're very odd shape though, and they all look really quite different. So I'm not convinced. I don't know, but I know that you can't save seed from pumpkins and courgettes and things because they're really promiscuous and they won't come true. I mean, you can save seed, that's a stupid thing to say, but they won't come true to the variety that you take them off. And really, it could pick up any kind of variation that you really is not, it's not something you want to eat. But this is all right. So we're going to have this roasted tonight with a bit of paprika and probably some maple syrup. It is Christmas, you know. Really pleased I got those sticks measured out. It actually turns out we need fewer sticks than I thought we did, so that's pretty good, saves on the money. And I'm hoping to get that done quite early on in the new year. So that's quite exciting. I think that will work out quite well. I do mean it though, if you can think of any vine fruits, which might be a good idea, they need to be hardy. I have been looking at the passion fruits, and obviously because Mum's Australian, she remembers passion fruits growing wild, like everywhere. And it's the dark skinned hard ones that we like rather than the yellowy orange ones. But we thought it might be worth a try anyway, because you can get one, I think, which is quite hardy here. That is quite hardy, so we're gonna have a go at that. And I've got a grape already, you see, which is in the fruit cage, so I don't really need a grape. But yeah, that kiwi fruit that was at Johanna's, that I showed you outside her greenhouse, I really fancied that. So anyway, I'm gonna have a think about it. If you can think of anything which might be quite good, it needs to get quite tall, so around the sort of 8 foot kind of mark. If you can think of anything, drop me a line below. Now, I know last week I said, oh God, you know, can you keep me entertained by your comments? Do you know what? I've barely had a moment to breathe like over the last week. Work was nuts, totally unexpectedly. And then I had loads to do here, and then obviously I was trying to get all the Christmas plans together and then trying to deconstruct the Christmas plans when I realised that wasn't going to be happening. So yeah, it's been a bit manic, and the moment that I've got this one uploaded, it's currently Monday evening. Obviously it's going up tomorrow, so I'm going to upload it and then go read all your comments, because yeah, I just didn't have a chance to get around to it, which was odd because I thought that's exactly what I would be spending last week doing. So 2 bits of seasonal stuff. Firstly, by the time I see you next week, Christmas will have already happened, and we will be closing in on 2021, which was, I'm really looking forward to that. And also we're now on the up in terms of, yesterday was the Winter Solstice, so the days are getting longer. We are rapidly approaching spring. Yeah, can't wait. I'm so excited. And the other thing to mention is that today is Plot 37's 37th vlog. I would have liked to have done something a bit more exciting for it than measuring out poles and digging up carrots. But like I say, things have just been a bit, and I didn't get around to doing anything. So yeah, sorry about that. It seems odd to have got to 37 full stop, let alone to have not celebrated it, but I'll give cheers anyway. So I know that quite a few people are going to be having either massively downsized or pretty much cancelled Christmases this year. Like I was saying earlier at the plot, tricky times. I have spent a Christmas on my own before, pre-pandemic, just eating spag bowl in a cold barn in France. By this time next year, hopefully this will all be a thing of the past and we will be over it. So that's what I'm hoping for anyway. But yeah, I really do hope that you all have a wonderful Christmas, even if it is super quiet. Yeah, I'm going to be spending the next week really kind of having a bit of a think about what 2020 has been, because it has been a strange year for absolutely everybody. It's been terrible. There has also been some positives come out of it. Particularly, I find it really encouraging that so many more people have got into their gardens. I mean, that really is a phenomenal thing. If anything comes out of this, the fact that more people have got outside and have been engaging with their own gardens and thinking about growing veg, I just think that's a really fantastic thing. So if 2020 is what's led you to this point of watching me rambling on in my kitchen about how nice it is to grow vegetables, and you put up with watching me measure out poles and talking to the chickens, basically cheers to you. I mean, I think it's a wonderful thing. It really is a wonderful thing, and hopefully it's something that's going to stay around for a long time. So yeah, cheers. Like I said, I did record that plot tour. It is going to be going up this week. I'm like halfway through editing it, so it is actually going to come up. And it's going to be part of my like final week of 2020, having a look at what's there and possibly even a look at what we had in the summer. And a bit of an assessment really. So much has changed on the plot this year. It's been unbelievable, the difference between this time last year and now. I mean, I've replaced all of the beds across the whole plot, moved the shed, moved the fruit cage, built the polytunnel, moved in 3 new fruit trees. Yeah, it's been a really, really big year on the plot. And so next vlog, I'm going to do a bit of a looking back at the year and what's changed, what stayed the same, what we're going to be changing for next year. I think next year is going to be really exciting, and I really hope that you're all going to stick around with me to see what we do in the coming year. But I will go on and on and on about that next week, I'm sure, because the next vlog is going to be coming out between Christmas and New Year. So next week's vlog is going to be, like I say, a bit of a roundup and a bit of a looking at what's what. So if you have enjoyed it and if you do want to carry on with me into 2021. Hit subscribe. I can't believe, I mean, I had no subscribers at the beginning of this year, and now we are just a few short of 3,000, which is unbelievable, and I'm just so grateful to all of you who come and watch me every week. It means a huge amount. I really hope that anybody who's having Christmas alone, anybody who's having Christmases with reduced family numbers, or in fact, not even in the UK, obviously, anywhere in the world, I really hope you have a lovely Christmas, whatever it is, even if it's just champagne in your knickers on your sofa, on your own, watching some crap telly. I mean, there's something to be said for that, I think. So cheers, guys. Just cheers, really. I don't have anything else to say. Really pleased to have got that measuring done. Doesn't look like we're going to need that stick. Doesn't look like we're going to need